The gods, delighting in strange company, sent me not princes nor kings, but a rabbi of endless questions and a friar of endless sermons. Yet I tell you gladly would I face another Cyclops beside these two than dine with 100 silent heroes. Come, Rabbi Dave, whose counsel is deep, and Friar Rod, whose laughter heartens weary men. The sea has not yet found the storm to part companions such as these.
Good morning, America. How are you? I'm Rabbi Dave, and learn now of the Greeks' treachery, and from one crime, learn them all. Or as was once said, Timeo Dineos et dona ferentes.
Good morning, America. I am Friar Rod, and I don't have any other pithy comments or statements to make, so I'll lean heavily upon Dave's wisdom.
As you should. As Odysseus would.
Every week.
You know, it's one of the more interesting arguments I think I've ever participated, ongoing arguments. And it comes from having served in ministry for X number of years. Most of you know by now, I was not always Jewish. At one point, I was, in fact, a pastor. I am the child of a pastor. The son of a preacher.
That explains some things.
Yeah, the son of a preacher man, as Dusty Springfield once sang. I am a fourth generation member, of the faith that I grew up in. There's a lot that I've spent in my lifetime dealing with theology. Today is not about why I'm Jewish. Today is about that argument that I have been involved with literally since the earliest days, Rod. And that is, you know that Jesus spoke King James, right? You've no doubt heard this argument. I mean, I've run into this so many times. The King James Version Bible is the only authorized, air quote, version.
Well, we were both kind of raised in a Wesleyan type of denomination. So for me, it was definitely there. That was the only Bible I knew of growing up because I was Methodist.
Well, growing up, it was the only one I knew of because it was the only one there literally was. There were a few other translations out there that were looked upon with some disdain. The one I really recall coming out, of course, was the New International Version, the NIV. Mm-hmm. And I remember getting a NIV version and constantly comparing the two between them. My father, of course, who would preach on Sundays, refused to use it. He would only use the King James. Not because he believed that it was the authorized, air quote, version, but because it was what he was familiar with. And he didn't want to screw things up. And the man had memorized a good deal of scripture. And so when he started, mixing in the NIV, which my mother liked, then there was the Living Bible. I don't know if you remember that one.
I remember that one.
The one that I used primarily when I was in ministry, the New King James Version Bible, which I found to be a pretty decent translation.
That's the one I settled on for a long time.
There's others, the EAB, don't even know what that stands for. The EASB. In Judaism, we have the JPL translations. We have others as well. And of course, then there's the Message, which is kind of the Living Bible.
It's like a paraphrase.
Yeah. And the problem with all this is, and all of them, and this is the argument I would get into people with the King James Version Bible. For many years I had on my shelf, I don't have it anymore because I gave it to somebody, an actual 1611 authorized version. It was a reprint. I didn't have an original. But it was a 1611 King James Version Bible.
You would not have given away an original.
No, I would have sold it. And bottom line is, people would start in me without, King James Version's the only version. So I would hand them that and say, okay, read Psalm 27 to me.
Yeah.
Just to see what would happen.
So hard to read.
Unless you are an English lit major or steeped in Shakespeare.
I was a thespian, so for me I loved that part of it, but I didn't do any serious studying on that book.
It's a very difficult read. It's not printed in the English that you read today. In fact, the King James Version Bible that you hold in your hands today as the only quote unquote authorized version, unquote, is what, the fourth or fifth version of that, somewhere along those lines. And again, it's a translation. It is not a transliteration where it's just telling you how to pronounce the words. It is a translation. It is someone's interpretation of what the original text meant. And there are problems with it. For example, there is a passage in the New Testament where Jesus is confronting some smart asses, and they are questioning him about, is it right to pay taxes to Caesar? Remember this?
Mm-hmm.
And in the King James, he says, shew unto me the coin.
Mm-hmm.
And the next verse says, and they shew unto him, S-H-E-W, a penny.
Didn't have pennies back then.
Well, but in England they did.
Oh, okay.
And even in 1611, what did a penny represent? A very small, minuscule amount of money. It's not the word that's actually used. In the Greek, the actual term is denare, which is the equivalent of a day's wages. A more accurate translation in English would have been, and he shew unto them $100 bill.
Yeah.
To kind of change the impact of that sentence a little bit.
A little bit.
All of a sudden, these guys are whipping out $100 bill that they got instead of just a penny that they got. And keep in mind, where did they get that? When you answer that question, you start to see how it shifts. There are little things like that. There's a story about Jesus is telling a parable. He's talking about this man went down to Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets beat up on the way. He gets left on the side of the road. And there's a phrase in that passage where it says, and they passed by on the other side. And if you're like me and you grew up in Sunday school and you grew up in seminary and what does that phrase mean?
It means they walked on the other side of the street.
Until you go there and you see it, and you go, oh, that's not what that means at all. It means they walked 6 miles back to Jerusalem, crossed to the other side of the Wadi, and walked 12 miles back to Jericho on the other side of the freaking canyon. Because the road ain't wide enough to you just pass by on the other side of him and get around him. Little things like that become embedded in translations. You see where I'm going with this? Mm-hmm. Translations are interpretations. And by definition, King James, NIV, EASB, NKJV, Message, Living, all translations are subjective, and they are biased by the beliefs and interpretations of the people who are interpreting them. Period. Yes, I said that about your Bible.
Yeah.
The only way to know what it actually says is to learn how to read Hebrew or Greek. Period. Or even Aramaic.
Well, even then, there's going to be the cultural things you're not going to get. So,
not only that, but even if you learn to read Hebrew, biblical Hebrew has no vowels in it. So you're going to have to learn to read canticle marks. And that still leaves words that are archaic, that nobody even knows what they mean, because they haven't been used in thousands of years. And so the best you can do is contextually interpret them. Why am I talking about all this?
Well, I mean,
because
couldn't you just use Google Translate now?
I would actually use ChatGPT, but, there you go. I found Gemini is not as good at it, but
at the translations.
You could in fact do that. I went to see the Odyssey after all of our hemming and hawing about it, and I went back and checked. I never said that I wouldn't see it. I always said I wasn't sure. I did go to see it. I went on, I guess, opening day, Friday. Okay. Although I understand it opened some places on Thursday.
Did you get a big thing of popcorn?
I did not get a big thing of popcorn. I got a small popcorn because I'd just eaten breakfast. I went to the very early showing. I also made the mistake of getting a medium-sized root beer. That was a mistake. I should have gotten the small root beer, but I didn't. That will come into play because this movie, I'll skip to the general review. Okay. Number one, it is painfully long. Runtime.
Is it noticeably long when you're there? Is it like, oh, this is so long?
Painfully long.
Okay.
It has good pacing. Don't get me wrong. There are at least 3 scenes that are completely unnecessary.
Okay.
And I'll talk about that here in a minute, but painfully long. Okay. I'm going to tell you right now, if you go and you have a drink and you find yourself in the middle of this film going, the time to go is right after they escape the Cyclops.
Okay.
So when they defeat Polyphemus and they get out of the cave and get back on their ships, that's the time to go. Because the next scene, which from a story of the Odyssey means something, cinematically, it's just Odysseus and his men battling the Cylons. And yes, I mean the Cylons from Battlestar Galactica. Talk about a strange directorial thing. Anyway, that's the time to go. You got about 5 to 7 minutes of them fighting the Cylons to get your business taken care of, and you will miss nothing. Okay? That's the break point. And oddly enough, after I told someone this, I think it was Carol, my friend Carol, I was telling her, there was a post on Instagram that said, these are the points to go to the bathroom. And that's the first one. It's not that it's an unimportant scene. It's not. I mean, it establishes the fact that Odysseus is continuing to lose men left and right. But again, it's a 3-hour movie. If I were editing the film, that's the first scene that would go. And the way you'll know it is they've just gotten out of the cave. They land on the next island, and there's what appears to be a little kid dressed as a medieval knight kneeling down in front of them. When you see that, go.
Is that a baby Cylon?
It appears to be, yes.
Okay.
But anyway, I'm not here to recite the Odyssey to you. It's an important element to the story, but from the film standpoint, it's pointless. So get on your way. The problems with this film are numerous. There are a lot of issues with, of course, the casting. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of issues with the interpretation of the character. There are a lot of problems with why even do this. Mm-hmm. That said, if you enjoy giant epics in the tradition of the Ten Commandments, Ben-Hur, Cleopatra, that sort of thing, you're going to like this. It is well filmed with the exception of one scene, which I found very difficult to watch. It's the storm at sea. And for some reason, he decided the lightning flashes. I mean, it was hurting me. It physically was hurting my eyes. I had to close my eyes. I couldn't watch it because it was physically hurting. There are some points where the soundtrack is painfully loud. That may be the theater. It may be the way they're doing it. I don't know. But there were a couple of times where I actually had to cover my ears because it was hurting physically.
Did you see it in IMAX?
No.
Okay.
The closest IMAX theater to here is in Seattle, and it's not.
Don't want to do that.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. So the danger, however, in translations, and this is what it comes back to, like the Bible and other translations of things. The danger in translating something is that you face two real problems with it. Number one is you flatten it. So you turn something from a denarius into a penny. Is it an accurate translation? Does it make sense? Sure, he showed them a coin.
Mm-hmm.
But you've flattened the storyline so that you don't really get the impact of it. Okay? The second problem that you have is what's called overcorrection. And that is where you begin to put your morals, your values, your interpretation of what it should be.
Your name on it.
Your name. It's one way to do
James.
it. Yeah. Well, he didn't actually write it, so.
No, but
he did
I think he
authorize
sponsored it. He sponsored it, right?
He authorized it. So the bottom line is, well, Wycliffe did the same thing. When you start doing that is when you really run into problems. And the danger, and this is where you get into things like the Message and the Living Bible, and even to some degree the NIV. The danger is when you're trying to make it speak to us, you make it sound too much like us.
Mm-hmm.
And so you lose the context of the story. When a Bible translation sounds too much like a contemporary self-help book or a modern political tract, it loses its authority as an ancient artifact. We stop wrestling with God, and a culture that is fundamentally different than us, and instead we try to create a text that is seamlessly rubber stamping our current worldview. And this is exactly what Emily Wilson has done with her translation, and her translation is the basis for Nolan's Odyssey. And so things that are not present in the Odyssey text become the focal points of what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
We've talked about the casting.
Yeah.
This is where it shows up the most. And here's what I'm going to tell you. All the conservative whining and discussion you've heard for the past 6 months about the casting in this movie, including some here, I'll admit it, was pointless. All of these strange cast choices. The black gal, what's her name? Nagoyo?
Yeah.
As Helen of Troy and Clemystra. Pointless. Literally, if you took Ellen Page, Travis Scott, the rapper, and this gal that plays Helen of Troy. If you took all three of them together in this 3-hour movie, they have less than 15 minutes of screen time. And most of it is just them standing there. They're not involved with the story at all. The only thing they've done with Helen is that it's the most interesting thing that they could have done with Helen. She's no longer the most beautiful woman in the world.
Okay.
Which is not in the Odyssey. In the Odyssey, she's still the most beautiful woman in the world. And Telemachus is just absolutely struck by that when he meets her. But in this film, she no longer is. But they never explain why. And
that's dumb.
You're left to assume some things. You're left to assume that Menelaus, her husband, the brother of Agamemnon, is an asshole and a wife abuser. That's what you're left to assume because they never explain it. The entire thing with the rapper dude is actually, it actually works. It's not bad. He's not rapping. He's performing as a bard would have performed in that era.
Okay.
And again, he only has maybe 6 lines in the whole thing. And at the end of his second line, he is literally told to shut up. So
as they do bards across the across the eons.
Right. So if the casting choices are what's turning you off to this, and by the way, John Leguizamo is brilliant.
Is he?
Absolutely brilliant. So just put that out of your head. If the casting choices are what's bothering you, ignore it. As far as the Ellen Page character, the chick pretending to be a dude, this is a problematic character because, number one, the character that she plays, which is not Achilles, does not appear in the Odyssey. The character does appear in the Aeneid, but the character is changed in this version of the Odyssey. The character is changed from being the person about which those quotes I gave you at the beginning of the show, learn now of the Greeks' treachery, and from one crime, learn them all, and I don't trust Greeks bearing gifts. Those two quotes from the Aeneid are about what Sinon, the character that she's playing, does. She is, in the Aeneid, she is a horrible, terribly bad person, a trickster, someone who is, stay with me here, pretending to be something they are not.
Wow.
And the warning of the Aeneid is, don't trust your emotions and people who whine to you about how they are the victims in everything. I'm not, stop.
Why would you choose to be that character if you're trying to make a statement?
Indeed. Unless Nolan didn't know that.
Or Page didn't know that either.
Because the idea of a transgender chick pretending to be a dude playing a character who in the actual story is a warning not to trust people who are pretending to be something they are not. Don't let your emotions, don't let your politeness, don't let your political correctness get in the way of common sense. And you cast this person in that role. In some ways, and I think I said this a few weeks ago, in some ways, she's perfectly cast.
Yeah.
The problem is, she can't act. She's terrible. Terrible. And even if you didn't know who she was, you would notice how bad she is at it. But the fact that you do know who she is and who she's pretending to be makes it even worse. Okay?
Yeah, well, because it's hard to separate the actor now from the character because
it really is.
It's so in your face, right? They are so in your face about this stuff. That's like John Leguizamo, right? It's his politics make it hard to watch. The guy, he's a brilliant actor. I like the stuff he's been in, but it's really hard to watch that without knowing, hey, this guy's a jerk.
Knowing that this guy does such a great job in this film, and yet then turns around and complains because there are not enough Latino actors in a Greek epic, it does make it hard to do that. If you can set that aside, though, he does a brilliant job. And if he had never opened his mouth about it, I can see him getting some Oscar consideration as a supporting actor.
Yeah. They really need to stop the whole actors going to promote the film stuff because it's not turning out to be very good, right?
It doesn't work, yeah. Because they're inevitably going to say something very stupid. So back to the Ellen Page character.
Okay.
Nolan has used this character that doesn't exist in the Odyssey, but does exist in the Aeneid as a warning. Don't trust people who are pretending to be something they are not. And it's obvious that they're not that, but you're letting your political correctness, your kindness, your politeness, your understanding of law override your common sense. And they have turned this character into the motivation for Odysseus. He is no longer a complicated, tricky man, clever man who is just trying to get home, bathed in glory, which is what the first line of the Odyssey actually says. He's covered in glory because he's the genius that figured out how to end this tragic war. All he wants to do is go home. Unlike everyone else, he doesn't, hoard everything from Troy and stuff. He just wants to go home. Now, he does forget to give blessings to the gods, offerings to the gods, but that's a, story for another day. Sinon has nothing to do with any of this until you get to the Aeneid. And the Aeneid is the Roman retelling of the Trojan War. And they needed an evil character to make the Greeks tricksters, liars, people who are pretending to be something they're not. And so they add this character of Sinon into the Aeneid as a warning not to trust people who are pretending to be something they are not. And Nolan casts a transgender actor in that role. He turns Odysseus from this glorious hero who's just trying to get home and has inadvertently offended the gods, one god in particular, Poseidon. He turns that to this, I'd almost say, Vietnam-era PTSD suffering war veteran. That's the thing they keep saying over again. Trojan War veteran. That phrase repeats over and over again. And while they never say PTSD, they portray it as that. And so now he's this tragic character who in his own mind murdered Sinon by using them instead of Sinon being this trickster, evil character that you can't trust. They've turned that character into a inadvertent hero and the motivation for Odysseus. They changed Calypso from capturing Odysseus and wanting to keep him and make him immortal to she's trying to help him. And unfortunately, she's feeding him lotus flowers, which of course Odysseus specifically never ate the lotus, period. But she's feeding him that. Charlize Theron, by the way, I don't know what's going on with the photographs of her on the red carpet, but she's every bit as beautiful as she always is in the film. So don't let that be thing.
She's pretty. I still can't get her out of my head from her role in Arrested Development.
Yeah, I go all the way back to 2 Days in the Valley. I'm just like, holy crap. Anyway, so here's the thing. The movie visually is great. It does follow most of the story, but there are some fundamental changes, which unless you're like me, A, somebody who's actually read Homer, and B, someone who understands what the Aeneid was actually trying to do, you're going to be okay. It's like watching Cleopatra, the great movie Cleopatra, or the Ten Commandments. Do you think that's really what happened? No. But you're entertained by it.
Here are these 10 commandments.
Right, exactly. So would I suggest that you go see it? If you got 3 hours and nothing else to do, sure, it's worth the watch. It's one of those films that I will probably have on my streaming. But like The Lord of the Rings, I will never sit and watch it from start to finish. I will watch it in 20-minute segments and then come back.
We have a little trick that we use in our local IMAX in Riverbank is that we take the elevator up, leads you to a back corridor, and we usually sit in the back row of the IMAX. So if we need to go to the bathroom, there's a bathroom right next to the elevator. It's literally just a quick trip to the bathroom and then back out.
See, my problem was I didn't know the story. I didn't know what the script was going to do. So I couldn't find that moment where I needed to slip out. Had I known that the Cylon scene, I swear to God, he makes these guys look exactly like, the only thing they don't have is the red light. Otherwise, you'd go, why are the Cylons attacking Odysseus? Okay. The portrayal of Agamemnon deserves comment.
Okay.
Agamemnon is known as the King of Kings. In the Iliad and later in the Odyssey, he is the King of Kings. He's the leader of the Greeks, the Achaeans. Let's not call them Greeks, the Achaeans. And he is portrayed as the most powerful, more powerful than Achilles, more powerful than Odysseus. He is the leader. And the way Nolan has portrayed him in this film, I really dug. He does not speak until he's dead. And then his dead character speaks and blah, blah, blah. But his dress, I mean, it's so reminiscent of Darth Vader.
Really?
It's black. It's huge. He towers above everyone else. He has that helmet that covers everything. And his movements are just precise, and it's so intimidating. When the gates of Troy open, he's the one standing in the middle with all the Achaeans around him. And they begin to run forward as he walks. So it's right out of A New Hope. The scene before blows off. It's very reminiscent of that. And I thought it was very well done.
Rogue One scene.
Well, it's also
the Vader scene.
Yeah. Isn't it also in A New Hope where they blow the door off?
It is, but it's a little bit more, it's how the ship escapes, but it's his fight up to that door it's so frightening.
And it's just the way he moves. I thought it was very well done. Yeah. Very well done. And that's the helmet you see on the ad. That's Agamemnon. It's not Odysseus. So little things like that, little interpretive things. But it all comes back to interpretation, folks. Nolan has decided, using Emily Wilson, to interpret the Odyssey more as a commentary on PTSD and war veterans and motivations and how things should be, as opposed to what the story was actually trying to tell you, which in the case of Sinon was don't trust people pretending to be what they're not, and don't allow your kindness, your political correctness, your legal system to override your common sense. He's blown that out of the water. And so there is that systematic problem with it. Other than that, it was worth the money that I spent on it. I wish I hadn't gotten the large or the medium-sized drink, but it was, the soundtrack is very interesting. Okay. The soundtrack only uses ancient Greek instruments. Oh. And so it will kind of feel odd to you. But as a musician, that's stuff I notice. And it was very interestingly done. That said, I have a lot to say about Nolan and Wilson's interpretation of it. But that, my friends, is for another day and another show.
These are so good. They really are. Perfect. The filling is so warm, and the crust is perfect. We should get more.
Welcome back. I'm Dave.
I'm Rod.
And so Rod took great joy in taunting me this week by sending me a text that said very simply, boom.
Yeah.
You had gone to McDonald's and you had gotten your fried apple pie.
I did. Unfortunately, it wasn't really super hot when I got home.
When I got mine, I ordered two of them because who can eat just one?
Well, I had a McFlurry with mine, so.
I pulled up to the window and she said, it's going to be a 7-minute wait.
Yes.
I said, fine. I guess they were expecting me to go, well, who has 7 minutes to, I'm like, dude, I'm from the 70s. I'll wait 7 minutes for a fried apple pie from McDonald's. Hell yeah. So I pulled around. Is that my bird or is that yours? Anyway, So I pull around the corner and I sit for 6 minutes and 48 seconds. At which point she brings out the bag with the 2 apple pies in it and she says, before I give these to you, I am required to give you a warning. These are extremely hot.
Oh, yeah.
And I said to her, look, I'm from the 70s. I know.
I remember.
This is something I know all too well. Knowing full well. Yeah.
Burnt roof of my mouth.
I had no plan to eat them until I got home anyway. So, but yeah. Damn, those things are so good.
They are.
And so I went back the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And said, I would like 2 fried apple pies. She said, sorry, we're out. All we have are the blueberry.
Were they frying the blueberry too?
I have no idea, but I said,
I think they're baked.
I said, I don't want blueberry. I want fried apple. And she said, I'm sorry, sir, we're out. I said, well, that's it. I'm calling corporate headquarters and saying to them, what the hell's wrong with you people? Why do you do this to us? Why do you do this to us? Why do you take something away that was so fantastic? And you know why they took them away, right? No. You know why they did away with the fried apple pies to begin with? I'm telling you, this is why. Number one, that stupid coffee lawsuit, which wasn't stupid. I get it, but
that could be. Yeah, it could be.
That was part of it. But number 2 was all these freaking lettuce eating, diarrhea getting freaking weirdos who were complaining about, can't get for children. And so they took it away and replaced it with a baked apple pie because that's so much better for us.
Like an apple pie is good for you at all anyway.
Right. You ever had one of those baked apple pies from McDonald's?
I used to work there, dude. Back
when
I was.
Beat yourself over the head with a hammer. It's the same effect. It's like
we used to take the fried apple pies and we'd stick it in the sundae cup and then we'd pour the ice cream into the sundae and then you'd. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. When you work there, you do all sorts of different things.
I have to find one of these now. I have the ice cream in the refrigerator. I must now go to another McDonald's and find one of these and go, this is what I want.
It was good.
Dear God. So they took them away.
I had double quarter pounders with cheese before they actually sold them.
I don't like burgers with 2. I've never liked burgers with 2 patties.
I had tripled cheeseburgers before they did. So
they took them away from us, Rod, because they weren't good for us. And then they announced they were bringing them back.
And their sales probably went up. And then they're going to say, huh.
And now they said,
maybe we should McRib these.
Yeah. That's
come back every year.
That's what it be, isn't it? We're going to get it's coming back soon. The McRib and the apple pie.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason why the McRibs don't stay 24/7. It's because it affects the global pork market.
Well, that and the fact that it's disgusting, but
yeah.
I ate one of those once.
I liked them, so.
Yeah. But those apple pies, man. And they were so good. Biting into those again, it was like I was 12 all over again.
Yeah.
And now they've taken it away from me.
Well, there's always Taco Bell.
Look, there is in fact Taco Bell, where I was tempted to go the other day, but I did not. Instead, I went to a local place, a sandwich place instead, and said, you know what, I'd like a sub. And I texted my beautiful wife, whom I love dearly, and I said, would you like a sub as well? And she texted me back and said, absolutely, I would love a sub. Here's what I want on it.
Okay.
Turkey, tomatoes, lettuce. Yeah. And I texted back, are you sure about that lettuce? She said, yeah, tell them put spinach on it instead. I want my apple pies back. God, I want my apple pies back. But it's probably best that they don't, because you know what would happen if they did?
You would little Debbie Christmas tree that thing.
God bless America. I'd have one every day.
That's exactly right.
I had another topic that I wanted to do, but screw that. I just don't even feel like I'm not feeling that topic today. It was a philosophical discussion about how society has changed because white liberal women who have not been having children or who no longer have, children at home have lost the mama bear sense of stuff. And that's why they're so attached to liberal causes.
Okay.
That's why they're so vehement about it. But
it was a good tweet. I read it to my son, and he was very, he's like, wow, that makes a lot of sense.
It does make a lot of sense, but it's just not interesting to me this morning.
No, that's okay. I mean, you're still hungering that apple pie.
God, I want one of those so bad. And I can already hear RFK saying, oh, they're just not good for you.
And then Donald Trump says, give me an apple pie.
3 of them.
From McDonald's.
If the president of the United States came out and said, we need these apple pies back to make America great again, you think McDonald's would listen?
Oh, in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. Do you know how much press they got from him working in the store?
Yeah, I do. And all the people around here were going, well, I'm not going to McDonald's anymore. And I'm like, good. Our Chick-fil-A is getting ready to open. We got a Chick-fil-A now. And people are, all kids up dining board is like, well, I will never eat Chick-fil-A. I'm like, good. Quicker through the line for me. Don't go. I don't care. We got a Panda Express that they finished last November building. Can't open because our county, politely speaking, has its head up its ass. They can't get the permitting done. Right?
That's horrible.
The building has been sitting. Then all these people are like, well, if you want real Chinese food, why don't you go here? Well, first off, dumbass, why are you assuming that I want real Chinese food? Yeah. I want my Beijing beef bowl and a cherry Coke. That's what I want. If I wanted real Chinese food, well, I'd go to China. Because none of the Chinese food here, your restaurant that you say is real Chinese food is real Chinese food. It all comes from Cisco anyway.
Yeah, my masseuse actually makes some Chinese food on occasion. I told her I wanted to learn more about her culture, and so she'll occasionally make something, and I'll swing by and pick it up.
And explain it to you?
No, she didn't actually. She gave me this fish dish, which I don't eat fish a whole lot, but I said I'd try it. Didn't give me any instructions, so I there's broccoli and some other stuff in there. Those are all spices. I ate the spices, and it burned the heck out of my mouth because it was so hot. The fish was good, but I told her, man, this is too hot. She's like, you're not supposed to eat that. I'm like, I didn't know. You didn't tell me.
See? You don't have that problem at Panda Express. You just go ahead and get a Beijing beef bowl, and you eat it, and you get a fortune cookie that you share with your wife afterwards. And that's all there is to it. I mean, and if people don't like that, well, good, then don't go. It's like the Odyssey. If it's going to bother you that Christopher Nolan used Emily Wilson's translation, which is completely batshit crazy, don't go.
We're not in a socialist communist society where you're forced to do things. You don't have to spend your money there. It's a capitalism, right?
You don't have to. But you do have to understand that most of those casting choices were made solely for the purposes of winning an Oscar. That's all they were. And imagine you're one of these minority performers, these underrepresented groups, you're LGBT, you're trans or whatever. Imagine all this fluff and nonsense about how Christopher Nolan has put you in this film. And then to realize that you're almost non-existent in the story.
It's tokenism, right?
It's pure tokenism, but it's going to win an Oscar because of it.
Well, there you go.
And meanwhile, Brad Pitt, who got paid more than all the other actors combined, the white guy, who I like, I've always, not Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, who I've always liked, is going to get, it's going to get all this praise and everything else. It's like,
will he win an Oscar?
Probably not. I can see Lozano. I can never say his name.
Leguizamo.
I can see him getting one for supporting, at least a nomination.
Okay.
Because he was good. But no, I don't see Brad Pitt getting an Oscar for that. But
you being Matt Damon?
That guy, yeah, Matt Damon. Because Brad Pitt was Achilles, yes. Yeah, I can see that happening. I can definitely see that happen. Don't know if it will or not, but there you go.
Basta, ya es suficiente. ¡No me hables así! ¡Cállate, argentino! ¡Ah, me golpeó! ¡Alto, sepárense ya! ¡Se lo merecía! ¡Esto no queda así! ¡Basta, los expulso! ¡Tarjeta roja! ¡Para el campo ahora! ¡Seria! ¡Che, Gisto! ¡No, es árbitro! ¡Silencia, vete ya! ¡Fuera! ¡Ahora mismo te expulso también! ¡No! ¡Sí!
Welcome back. I'm Rabbi Dave.
I am Friar Rod.
So yesterday was the World Cup third place game.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen anything so ridiculous in your life?
It was good. It was really good.
It was good, but it was good in the way of the McDonald's apple pie. Why can't they all be like this?
Yeah.
What, they have 8 goals?
It was the highest scoring game ever in the World Cup
Why
as far as the
can't
total
they
number of
all
goals.
be like that instead of these ridiculous 1-0 penalty kick shootout bullshit things?
It was like 10 goals or something all told.
Why
6
can't
and
they
4?
all be
Yeah.
like that? Because today's game, ain't going to be like that. As
No.
Argentina takes on Spain. And of course, Argentina will win 3-2. Probably on a Messi goal that will be allowed even though he's offsides.
Yeah.
With no
Thank you,
foul.
FIFA.
Yep. So again, if I'm running FIFA, I want more of that third place game, less of what we're going to see today. That's just me. Or conversely, you could have a game like you had last night in the Major League Cricket finale, which despite involving 2 teams that I couldn't care less about, the LA Knight Riders and the Washington Freemen, was a fantastic game. Came down to literally the last ball. And LA needed 3 runs just to tie, right? No, 3 to win.
3 to
And
win.
guy hits what would normally just be a single, but because it's the last ball, they have to keep running because they need 3 runs. And so they kept running and they got run out. It was a great game, but everybody's going cricket. Hey, what are you talking about? Cricket? We love cricket here.
We do.
I
got an official cricket ball.
And bat. Didn't you buy a bat?
Well, it's not here yet.
Oh,
But you got me a nice little what the Frock bat, which is
I did. I thought that was kind of cool. And we're still looking at ideas to do for things for people who support the show.
Yeah.
And I saw this and I thought, well, I'm going to send that to Rod and see what he thinks about it. Cause
we have a laser cutter or engraver here that we could probably do something with that if we could find the blanks.
Well, I'm sure they're out there. It's just a matter of finding it. Meanwhile, in the world of the bizarre, United Airlines. I don't fly anymore. I just don't. United Airlines has filed a motion to dismiss a lawsuit filed by a passenger who paid for a window seat.
Okay.
The passenger found themselves sitting next to a blank wall. Now, this is not Match Game where I'm saying he found himself next to a blank, fill in the blank wall.
Yeah.
It was actually a blank wall.
Okay. Well, there are some. Yeah.
But he paid for a window seat. And United's argument was, well, a window seat doesn't necessarily mean an actual window.
The chairs don't always line up with all the windows.
Okay, but United, instead of giving this guy his money back or reducing his ticket price or whatever, actually went to court to argue that you need to dismiss this lawsuit because window seat does not actually mean window.
Well, yeah, they don't want to keep getting lawsuits for the same thing over and over again.
It means a seat next to the wall of the fuselage, which may or may not have a window in it. Boy, talk about a translation of text, right? Because some lawyer somewhere got paid a shit ton of money to go through this and go, oh, that's what, it doesn't mean window, it means wall?
Yeah. The exterior side of the aircraft.
It reads in the fine print that, quote, as customers become accustomed to the new fare parameters, access to Delta One Lounge, Delta Sky Miles will be permitted on a basic business ticket. But I don't know what that has to do with anything, but apparently there's a lot of small print when it comes to flying that I've never read because who has time to read that stuff?
It's a click-through, right? You agree to the terms to buy the ticket.
Right. And apparently the terms of the ticket say, just because it says window seat doesn't. Now, the weird thing is when I do fly, I want an aisle seat.
Yeah, me too.
If I'm going to sit at a window seat, I want the emergency escape row. Are you willing to help other people escape? Sure, why not? I'll open the door.
Yeah.
No problem. I'll also be the first one out, but yeah, I generally want an aisle seat because if nothing else, I like to be able to get up and walk around. Yeah. But
there's usually more leg room for me.
Yeah, because you can stick your leg out in the aisle, trick people going by.
Yeah, you get it caught in the cart.
Right.
Slam. Oh, man, that hurts.
You want the whole can of Coke? What's up with that? No, we can't do that. Here's a peanut for you. It's all in the interpretation of how you read that. I don't know. This is why I don't fly anymore. Because I'd have to get Emily Wilson to read the text and interpret it for me and tell me what it means. And of course, I'm sure she'd come back with, this makes you a slave for life to the airlines. Because she was obsessed with that. But at the same time, I might win an Oscar for doing it. Who knows?
There you go.
At the end of the day, it's just another thing. On that note, I'm Rabbi Dave.
I am Friar Rod.
Folks, beware Greeks bearing gifts. This has been...
What the Frock?